Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. I am Paul Jerry, your host of Walk It Off, and we have a content-packed show today. Just dropped. I just saw this at least. To start off on a funny note, Brian Kelly isn't even a good enough coach to get paid for his consulting abilities. It just popped up on my social media feed that Brian Kelly has now been hired as an unpaid consultant with the Memphis University Tigers. He's such a bad coach. They can't even pay him for his services in Memphis. Let me get this straight. Right before I come on, my phone pops up from a notification from something, and it says, Brian Kelly has a new job in the South. And I went, excuse me? Pull up unpaid consultant from the University of Memphis. You got to love it. You got to love it. I'm sure he's getting the unpaid job so that he can still get his buyout from LSU, by the way. Real class act that guy is. Anyways, welcome into the show today. We have a lot to discuss today. We're going to talk about Jay Johnson, how he is straight up just cooking in the transfer portal. Is Stephen Milam back? Did Mama Milam and Stephen kind of give some stuff away yesterday? We're going to talk about that. We talked about that last night, too, on Go Deep Dive, which I did a crossover stream with David Billiot and Zach Nunez. If you haven't checked it out, I promise you, you want to go check out that show. It was fun. We had a great time. It was a good palate cleanse for all of us involved. It was a great time. We got into a lot of discussion. Some of it we're going to talk about tonight. Some of it we haven't. But if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you do that. We're going to talk about Will Wade. And I was going to put in my notes every player that was like officially on the team now, but they were putting them out every hour a day. And I was like, I'm not sitting around and waiting on that. So we'll go over that later on in the show. And we're going to talk about life in general around Baton Rouge. There's nothing really else going on in college football, right? Nothing really? Yeah, I thought better. But before we get into all that, please, everyone, do me a favor. If you haven't already, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a bunch. Please go to X and follow both accounts with Paul Jarrett 16 and at Walk It Off Talk. If you haven't seen it on X already, you have people posting photos of their pick-to-click prizes coming in. And I'm being very, very, very apologetic. I'm sorry it took so long for me to get you those prizes. It wasn't the fact of me getting them. It was, I didn't think about shipping when I started this. It was more or less like a moment of, oh, I'll meet you at a game or you'll come by and I'll hand it to you. No, we're shipping. We're, like I said last night on the show with David Billiot and Zach Nunez, we're countrywide. Worldwide, not happening. If you live in another country, you're out. But make sure you're following those. Pick to click will happen for football season. Like I said last night, that behind me is one of your pick to click prizes that will be coming up for football season. Also, go follow the Instagram. It's at Walk It Off Talk. Go follow the TikTok. It's at Walk It Off Talk as well. Go give me a follow. I've decided I'm going to just nix the Facebook page because the Facebook page really wasn't doing anything. It wasn't moving. Nobody was really liking it or following it. So, one less thing I got to worry about. So, now we get that out of the way. We got to talk about the Texas Tech tortilla taints. I'm sorry. Tortilla taints is something Tiger Bob's put in my head earlier. It's been stuck in my head. We got to talk about the Texas Tech Red Raiders and Brendan Sorsby. Again, unfortunately, it just so happens every day the people surrounding this scandal with Brendan Sorsby do something else stupid, and they can't stop putting their foot in their mouth, and they can't stop just giving more content. But this is not even content I want to cover. I would rather cover the transfer portal, the baseball roster, the football roster coming up, talk to different people around the programs, around the sport. I'd rather talk about good things, but I feel like I have to talk about Brendan Sorsby and this betting scandal. But we're going to look at it a different kind of way tonight. Look, I understand Brendan Sorsby is like the epicenter of this scandal. And he has been getting flamed from every which way. And after talking with Zach and David last night, I kind of I reframed my thought on the whole situation. And I'm going to explain to you like this. Yes, there are some things that we have to lay out before we get into this deeper conversation. Brendan Sorsby not only broke the cardinal rule of athletics. Brendan Sorsby purposefully broke the cardinal rule of athletics, but he illegally placed bets on sport events he was involved in and he wasn't involved in. And when I say he did it illegally, we all have forgotten, even I have forgotten to a point, Brendan Sorsby was underage while he did this. Not only did Brendan Sorsby break the law, a federal law, his brother-in-law broke the law by aiding and abetting a minor and placing sports gambling wagers. Furthermore, Brendan Sorsby is being covered by this addiction cloth and this poor excuse to bring sympathy to the young man. I'll tell you this. I care more about the probable extinction of the North African moth than I do about his so-called addiction and him going to rehab. Again, spare me with the rehab story. It's all a fugazi. It's all a mirage. It's all fairy dust. It's not true. It's not true. Like I stated last night on the stream with Go Deep Dive with Zach and David. If you were so worried about his mental health, if you were so passionate about getting this young man the help he needs, how do you know he's coming back in week 3? And why are you going the links you're going to make sure he can come back in week 3, if not week 1? Because I'm at the point now where if he's going to play in week 1, he might as well play in week 3, rather. He might as well play in week 1. There is no difference. Brendan Sorsby not only placed wagers on games that he was involved in and on the roster for, there is now evidence declaring that Brendan Sorsby more than likely not only placed wagers on his team in a negative fashion, placing wagers on his starting quarterbacks under in yards, under in points, under in rushing yards. He did it at halftime of those games. He was in the locker room between halves, placing wagers and or texting his brother-in-law, whoever associate he had making these wagers for him, his bets. Using insider knowledge, prophetically, he has to be, because he's hearing the game plan and what they're going to do. And we've always talked about coaches and teams don't make adjustments really at halftime. They may shift their game plan, but they're not big, huge adjustments. So he's talking about, okay, we're going to go more to a running game. We're going to go more to a passing game. Hey, take the under on rushing yards. We're not running the ball as much today. Our running back has like a torn up ankle or he's got a little bum knee. We're going to start throwing the ball more. Take the under and rushing yards. That's the things he was doing at halftime. These are indisputable facts about the case against Brendan Sorsby. But, like I've always told you guys, these are kids. They make mistakes. They're going to continue to make mistakes. I've made my piece on Brendan Sorsby clear. It is undeniable. I think the young man should not be able to participate in college athletics ever again. I don't think he should be suspended. I don't think he should be expelled from college athletics. I won't go as far to say bring criminal charges against him and his brother-in-law. I won't go that far. It's a mistake. It's a victimless crime, you hope. Because what the nuts and bolts of this to the end is, what is to stop this from turning into a situation where a college athlete throws a game and tarnishes the integrity of athletics? I can't remember the name of the documentary now, but I remember watching a documentary about a basketball player from Arizona State in the 90s who was throwing games, and he how'd he put it? He didn't go to lose a game, but he would adjust his point totals. He would adjust what other players got point totals to affect lines and affect bets for people and for himself. That man spent years in jail, spent years in prison. He was locked up. He was found guilty on his crimes. I cannot say with any type of evidence that Brendan Sorsby did that. We also cannot forget, this didn't die at Indiana. This continued at Cincinnati. Indiana in Cincinnati also need to be held accountable for sweeping this under the rug. They're not innocent in this. Those coaches and those programs knew. I don't care what they tell you. They knew. Their job is to know everything that goes on with these players in their program. They knew. If you have kids, my kids are young. They can't lie to me. Even if they try to lie to me, I know they're lying. Same goes on for athletes in your program. Now that my blood pressure is starting to rise, and we are all reminded of the indisputable facts regarding Brendan Sorsby and this betting scandal, it's time for me to speak about the adults that are supposed to be in the room. Joey McGuire, Cody Campbell to start. Joey McGuire, the head coach of the Texas Tech football program. There's been an argument behind Joey McGuire saying he's merely protecting a player of his. As a head coach who walks into living rooms and sits with parents, attempting to convince them that not only is your child going to be safe at this university that I'm bringing them to, they will also get the tools and the education needed to succeed in life. And they will add to boot, they will not only arrive a boy, they will leave a man. They will leave a man. You're a hypocrite, Joey McGuire. You are a hypocrite. You are purposely allowing a young man not to face his consequences for not only his actions in placing bets, but also breaking the law. Every university, every corporation, military branch, etc., has a code of ethics that are supposed to drive your actions in, how would I put it? Drive your actions in decision making, day-to-day life, as well as build traits within you that allow you to not only be an exceptional example of yourself, but of the organization you present. Texas Tech's not any different in this. They also have a code of ethics. And I wanted to prove that to you. So what I'm going to do right now, right here, is the code of ethics for Texas Tech University. Now, this is for the University of Health Sciences Center. You get the gist. This is basically going to be copy and pasted throughout Texas Tech University. I talked about this last. Check out that podcast if you haven't already. This is their code of ethics. So I want to highlight some things. One team, unite to achieve our mission. Well, the way Cody Campbell and Joey McGuire and other individuals are acting, they're uniting as one team. Be kind-hearted. Exceed expectations with a kind heart, helping hands, and a positive attitude. They're being kind-hearted to Brendan Sorsby. They are being kind-hearted. Assume good intentions. There are no good intentions in gambling. Listen first to understand. I don't think to listen to anybody. Treat all consistency and compassion with I can't read. Treat all consistently with compassion and dignity. Acknowledge each other with courtesy. Respond rather than react. This is the one right here I want to highlight for everybody right here. Integrity. Integrity. Be honorable and accountable even when no one is looking. Be honest regardless of the outcome. Make ethical choices in every decision. Build trust by modeling respect and honoring commitments. Be transparent in your purpose, expectations, and actions. Protect and conserve institutional resources. Those are the ethics that Joey McGuire walks into parents' living rooms with and tells them, hey, let your kid come to Texas Tech. We're going to make them a man. Integrity is our call word. Integrity. And they have the definition of integrity in the gist of it perfect. Do the right thing when no one is looking. Do the right thing when no one is looking. It's that simple. Brendan Sorsby can't do the right thing when the team's in the locker room with him and you want to sit there and protect him. It's simple. It's really simple. Joey McGuire, you are a hypocrite. Woe to you. Woe to you, Joey McGuire. I'm tired of hearing you compare things and trying to just grandstand for this child. You are a hypocrite, and I hope your actions follow you into every living room you step into. That's my piece on Joey McGuire. Cody Campbell, the serpent in this scenario. And yes, I use the word serpent for a reason. A man who has been heralded in the past for wanting to fix what is wrong with college athletics and is now the sole evil plaguing the sport. A lot of people don't know this. The president of the United States. Hey, Cody Campbell, you right there. You're going to fix college athletics. I want you to spearhead this. That was done. We're not getting into whether or not you like Donald Trump or whatever like that. I'm just creating a pure image to show you he was isolated. He was singled out to be the person to fix these problems. He was being heralded as a person who could fix these problems. Amanda Atwell and Billy Lucci of the Moving Goalpost podcast summed up Cody Campbell pretty significantly today. So I'm going to let Amanda say her piece and speak for how we all feel about Cody Campbell.
I don't applaud him for anything at this point. I think it's all done selfishly. Yeah. He doesn't give a shit about the sport. He gives a shit about Texas Tech and moving forward, Texas Tech's what works for them. If this was happening at the University of Texas or at Texas A&M, he would be the first on the mic to just spew his utter disdain and say that Arch Manning or Marcel Reed should be banned for life, and this is just an affront to the NCAA's credibility. I don't buy it for a second that he gives a shit about anything else other than Texas Tech, which fine, but don't sit here on your high horse and act like you care about the NCAA's integrity. You don't, and it's so obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say to that other than.
Sorry, I had to go on a rant.
No, you're
that
good.
Guy has pissed me off. Just the gaslighting. He's
like, glad it's not me.
Like the worst man you've ever dated, gaslighting the shit of you, telling you something that you know is not true and just standing on it, acting like you're crazy for thinking otherwise.
And that's a good analogy.
I'm sure most of you've seen that clip today. Thank you to Amanda Atwell and Billy Lucci for allowing me to use that clip to express these feelings, because I've been doing this for 3 nights now and my heart can't really take it. Cody Campbell has dug his own grave when it comes to showing his ignorance and his loss of integrity. But now he is starting to drag other people into his pit of misery. And now, lurking from the shadows, Ken Paxton, the Attorney General in the state of Texas. Cody Campbell is now, through his connections, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, drug in the Attorney General of the state of Texas. Here's a little background on Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton graduated from Baylor University, and then he later graduated from the University of Virginia Law School. After graduating, he would go work for a law firm, and he would be the in-house counsel for a corporation named, I think, J.C. Penney. How's J.C. Penney doing right now? Has anybody been to J.C. Penney lately? Don't worry. I know you haven't. Let's see how well his counsel worked for J.C. Penney, right? Ken Paxton, came out today, Ken Paxton sent a memo to the Big 12 expressing his thoughts and opinions on the recent meetings and discussions of holding Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby accountable for their actions. I've read through this memo, and we're going to bring it up here right now, and I've highlighted some things to bring to light for you. I'm going to bring up my copy on my computer because that is really, really small. So this is the first page in the memo from Ken Paxton. At the top, I highlighted his name, Attorney General of Texas, to just reiterate what I was telling you about his title. First highlighted section. We are aware that the Big 12 is considering invoking bylaw 3.6 of the Big 12's bylaws to sanction Texas Tech for respecting the order and continuing its support of Mr. Sorsby as a student athlete. This letter serves to notify the Big 12 that any such action will be unlawful and will expose the conference to substantial liability. Any sanction against Texas Tech for acting consistent with the order would be a per se violation of federal and state antitrust laws. a naked horizontal agreement among competitors to a disadvantage Texas Tech by cutting off access to resources it needs to compete. Let's talk about that real quick. So this is going back to their, oh, they just don't want us to succeed comment. They're just scared of us having an advantage on the field or being able to do anything. We're getting better, and they can't stand it. Nobody cares. I can tell you many shows that I watched on a daily basis this past season who were rooting for you. You were kind of the Cinderella story. You had the linebacker who, told he couldn't do it, and he did it. You were the little guy coming up to beat the big guys. That's all it was. No one was against you. People celebrated when you got Brendan Sorsby. Texas Tech has a chance to go to a national championship. They're going to run away with the Big 12. By the way, I said this in Babin's chat earlier. I want to say it again. Saying you're the best team in the Big 12 is like saying that's my prettiest cousin. It doesn't matter. The Big 12 is not the Big 10. It's definitely not the SEC. There's two conferences that win national championships in the last, decade to 15 to 20 years. Big 10 and SEC. Tell me the last time a Big 12 team won a national championship. Don't worry. I'll wait. Let's go on to the next page. All right. Again, let me pull up my copy because that's way too small for my old eyes. And again, the stuff I'm not highlighting or talking about really is more or less legalese and lawyer speak. We're not going to get into that. Oh, I'll talk about this in a minute. So beyond its antitrust exposure, the Big 12 would also face liability for breach of contract and tortious interference. Any sanction that results in the cancellation, forfeiture, or alteration of Texas Tech's as scheduled games would constitute a breach of the Big 12's contractual obligations to Texas Tech. Additionally, any action that disrupts or interferes with Texas Tech's existing or potential contracts associated with its football team, including sponsorship arrangements, ticket sale commitments, alumni contributions, and other commercial relationships would give rise to claims for tortious interference with existing or prospective contractual relations. Up here, a part I didn't highlight, but I want to read real quick. So the last line of the paragraph above, the total exposure for both the Big 12 and its members, joint and severally, will be substantially more than $200 million. The last highlighted part. Should the Big 12 seek to sanction Texas Tech for acting consistent with the order, Texas Tech will pursue all legal avenues to protect its interests and those of Texas Tech student athletes. Please distribute this letter to the Big 12 board of directors. Sincerely, Thomas York, who is probably the lawyer who wrote that up for the Attorney General. Now, reading that, and there's a section in this that I'm gonna repeat for you real quick because it kind of made my ears perk up a little bit. It says right here, including sponsorship arrangements, ticket sale commitments, alumni contributions, and other commercial arrangements would give rise for claims of tortious interference. Now, what they did in this memo is tell the Big 12, hey, even if our alumni look at what Brendan Sorsby and what we are doing as terrible for the sport of college football, if they decide to pull their funds, we're blaming you for that. If sponsors look at this, like for instance, I should have checked this. What if they're sponsored by FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever other ones they got? I don't gamble. If they go, hey, we can't be associated with Brendan Sorsby, we're pulling it. Big 12's fault. We're going to sue them for that money. That's what they just did. It's pretty simple. And boy. Okay. Before we go any further into that, discussing his opinions with Ken Paxton, let's look at something else. And what I'm about to pull up here is, I want to, disclaimer. It's merely a theory legally. What I'm about to pull up is me merely expressing a theory I legally have the right to as a citizen and as a veteran of these United States of America. I have to say that before I bring this up. Oh, wrong page. So I got this earlier. Right here is a look into campaign contributions to Ken Paxton for Senate. And right here, if you look at the left side, the last name you see happen pretty frequently. Now, I will explain this. The dollar amounts, because those are probably limits to what you can donate to a political cause in the state of Texas or federally. So the surname on the end of those names seems to be pretty common, I must say. Again, merely a theory. As a citizen and as a United States Army veteran of these United States of America, I am allowed to have as a First Amendment right. Jesus. The fact I have to say that is insane. Cody Campbell, Joey McGuire, and now the top law enforcement arm in the state of Texas are trying to place the Big 12, the NCAA, and you, the fan, in a vice. They've attempted to make Brendan Sorsby the victim. Feel sorry for him. He's got an addiction. It's not his fault. And when that didn't work, they turned the tables and blamed you. They blamed you and said you're overreacting. If this happened anywhere else, it wouldn't be a big deal. Invoking LSU, which I will remind you, we have precedent for this in Baton Rouge. Kayshon Boutte. Kayshon Boutte, after the 2022 season, was going to return for his senior year and play with Jaden Daniels. He got caught up in a gambling scandal and decided to enter the draft. So there's your precedent, guy. You can't use that excuse anymore. You can't do it. You can't invoke other crimes to be associated with this. Because, all right, if an athlete speeds, we'll call out Georgia. They get caught speeding time and time and time again. Okay, punish them. That's that. Cool. If you want us to punish Brendan Sorsby by arresting him and arresting his co-conspirators for enabling a minor the ability to play sports bets, I'm sure there's people who do that. But you'll protect them in the state of Texas. You can't invoke that because what you're doing at the basis of this is you're compromising the integrity of the games. You're compromising the fact that you can turn on a game and watch it and know that it's ethical and you're letting what's happened on the field. Referees already messed it up as it is, and you can't have players placing bets. And I'll say this, I don't care if Brendan Sorsby was placing bets on the Reds or on a basketball team. You can't do it in college football. You can't do it against your own team. Period. This memo being sent from the top law enforcement arm, and what I mean by that when I say the top law enforcement arm is this. The Attorney General is the top law enforcement arm in the state of Texas. The Attorney General, if, say, for instance, you get arrested in Houston, you go to a bar, you get in a bar fight in Houston, whatever, cops come up, they say, hey, we're going to put you in the drunk tank, let you go the next day. If the Attorney General gets that across his desk and decides, oh, no, put a warrant out for his arrest, he can do that. He supersedes all law enforcement, state law enforcement in the state of Texas, even federal law enforcement in certain scenarios. Getting the top law enforcement arm in the state of Texas involved in this, you already had the U.S. Senate involved with Ted Cruz, but now you're getting the Attorney General involved. I don't know where to go from here. I'm at a loss for words. I don't understand how somebody cannot look at this and say, this is wrong. Period. At the end of the day, people like Cody Campbell, and these it's not even a bash on the rich people. It's people of influence getting their grubby little fingers into the sports we all love and hold, because this will affect basketball, this will affect baseball, this will affect women's basketball. Hell, this will affect tennis and track and whatever else you want to say, gymnastics. It won't be isolated to football. Football is just the biggest moneymaker. But if you give somebody an inch, you're going to take a mile. And it's not against the rich people. It's turning the decision making away from people who don't understand, can't spell what football is, and think you use a baseball bat in football. Those type of people what ruins the sport. And I'm begging somebody, anybody, step up and do the right thing. Brendan Sorsby, you can do the right thing. Just say, no, I'm done. If you love college football, if you love football in general, do the right thing. Somebody put an end to this. Because now, say, for instance, a university in the Big 12 cannot make their own decision in not playing Texas Tech. They can't do it. If a non-conference school wants to cancel their game with Texas Tech, they can't do it now because it's going to lead to a lawsuit for the Big 12. And I don't care about the Big 12. It's NCAA football in general as a whole is being ruined due to these actions. Let's get to the chat real quick. See what everybody's up to. Unc, by the way, Unc, your guy, I think it's RJ. I messaged him. He can't get my messages. So if you're on a stream with him, tell him to check his messages for me. Babin, what's up, my guy? Babin had a great show today, too, talking about this. He ranted on this. It's the soup du jour. Melly, I'm betting on Jay Johnson. So am I. We're going to get into some happy discussions here in a little bit. Also, Melly. And family assisted with taking money to place bets on the phone because phone betting is illegal in Texas. Well, we're going to isolate the betting to more or less in Indiana and Ohio because technically he didn't press bets in Texas. I just turned the notification bell on after liking the video. Thank you, my man. My wife recognizes your voice now. I'm sorry if I'm yelling. The bleeps. I had to. I don't look, if I have a guest on, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't care if you cuss. Like, I don't curse for my personal beliefs and my personal reasons. I don't care if you curse, but if I'm going to play the video, I'm going to knock out the cuss words. Kaylee Joe, hey, sweetheart, how you doing? JC Penney still exists? I don't think so. Couldn't have been that great a counsel there for Mr. Paxton. Not defending any politician, but technically it's his job to defend schools in his states. Grok had a good explanation on that, FYI. No, I understand that, but this is what I'll say about that. As the Attorney General, as a law enforcement officer to a point, or he is a law enforcement officer, really, you have discretion. And it's not, for instance, if LSU decided they were going to start having prostitutes on every corner of LSU, if the Attorney General, Liz Murrow, came out and said, I'm going to defend LSU for their right to have prostitutes on the corner, it'd be ridiculous. And I'm using a far crazy example to just prove my point. You have discretion. In this scenario, Ken Paxton can't come out and start defending this when it's such a blatant, total wrong. I'm not trying to attack you, Miss, on that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to attack you, Peggy. I'm just saying, in general. Ain't wishing anything good for Texas Tech you anymore. More like PPU because they stink. Oh, yeah. That cow manure stank around that place. Top two biggest villains in college sports are Cody Campbell and Texas Tech and LSU. I will disagree with you, Randy. They're not villains. They're criminals. LSU's a villain. And I said this the other day. Jay Johnson, Lane Kiffin, Kim Mulkey, Will Wade, all of them, they're anti-heroes. They're really, villain is a word we use as the buzzword, and it's fun to use. Like, we're the villains. They're anti-heroes. Like, look at Deadpool. Deadpool does bad things for good reasons. Lane Kiffin, Jay, and all of them are not doing bad things. They're looked and hated because they're not with your school. Prime example, Lane Kiffin. Everyone in this chat, everyone on this stream, hated Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Hated him. But now that he's at LSU, woo, we feel good. He's an anti-hero. Jay Johnson, going grabbing up all the best recruits in the transfer portal and in high school and away from the MLB draft, allegedly. Anti-hero. Kim Mulkey, anti-hero. They're not doing anything irreparable harm to anybody. They're just not your people. They're ours. So that makes them the villain. Texas Tech, Cody Campbell, all of them, criminals. Was Booty not returning an LSU decision or NCAA? I think it was a Booty coaching staff decision. I think it was around that, because there was also the scandal about the equipment manager and the members of the coaching staff that had a romantic relationship together during the week SEC championship. I'm not going to dive too far into that because I don't remember the whole story, but that was part of it. And Unc thought we had the biggest villain in college sports on lock. Not even close to this point. We do have the biggest villain in college sports because they're not criminals. What do you think about Florida and A&M pitching coach hires? Well, I talked to Zach Nunez last night, and Jay Johnson's come out and said that, and David said after the Cobble interview, the coaching staff is not going anywhere. There will be no changes to the coaching staff. So we're fine. And I haven't checked to see if they have hired anybody. While we're here, let's take a quick break. Let's go pay our bills. Again, if you could do me a favor, if you haven't already, please like the stream. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the X pages at Walk It Off Talk, at PaulJair16. Instagram at PaulJair16, at Walk It Off Talk. Also TikTok. It does me a big, huge favor. I'm trying to put content out as much as I can to entertain you, have this fun, and keep this going. So please, you do me that favor. It'd be a big help. Let's get to a quick break.
John 16:33, Jesus says, I've told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I've overcome the world. Like, that truth that Jesus won is so powerful, so significant in our lives if we fully trust and fully surrender to that promise. Like, no matter what we're gonna face, no matter what stress, no matter what challenges, no matter what anxiety, like, Jesus promises peace, and he reminds us that all of the sin, the fear, the doubt, the shame, like, he overcame it all. He paid the price for your sin and mine when he went to that cross. He died a death that we deserve. He went into the grave. He didn't stay there. 3 days later, he rose from the grave, and the promise is true that he's coming back someday. So the power and the significance of that verse is now in a 2-word phrase that's on a t-shirt, on a hat, on a hoodie, and simply said, Jesus.
Even in the valley of the shadow of death, I can take rest, cause the living God is living in my chest. Every day I wake up feeling blessed, and even if I don't, I see it as a test.
Join me and your favorite players by expressing your faith and assisting local ministries. Use code WalkItOffTalk for 20% off your orders at JesusOneApparel.com. 15% of your purchase will support local ministries like the LSU FCA. That is code WalkItOffTalk for 20% off. Jesus One.
In South Louisiana, there's nothing we love more than God, family, sports, and food. For your next get-together, make sure you contact Mie Sourdough Bakery. Whether you're gathering with friends and family for the big game or surrounding yourself with loved ones for a Sunday dinner, let Mie Sourdough Bakery provide what you need to make it that much more special. Mie Sourdough Bakery is a small batch, all organic bakery right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Go take a look at what's being mixed up in the kitchen next, as well as place your orders on Instagram at Mie Sourdough Bakery. Don't forget to pick up your regular sourdough loaves, your jalapeno cheddar loaves, cookies for those late night snacks, and cinnamon rolls for those early morning cravings. Mie Sourdough Bakery, where the first ingredient in anything made is love. Mie Sourdough Bakery.
Woo! All right. Woo. Well, now that we are finally back, we are going to get into other news around LSU real quick. We'll dive into this real quick. Just get out of the way. North Carolina State is eyeing legal claims versus LSU in the Will Wade exit. They are claiming in a letter from, who is this? Allison Newhart, the general counsel of North Carolina State, wrote to the counterpart Carlton Jones in the letter that NC State is investigating whether LSU improperly induced Coach Wade to breach his employment agreement, induced Coach Wade to terminate his employment agreement, and interfere with the timing of termination of the employment agreement to result in lower liquidated damages, all to North Carolina State's detriment. This is my opinion on this. I don't care. LSU paid a buyout. if you're going to, I can't remember, I think, and Zach in the chat, he can tell me this. He's going to have a better idea about this. I believe Will Wade and LSU waited to hire him or have him leave North Carolina State to lessen the buyout amount owed to North Carolina State. That's just called good business, baby. If you don't like it, don't put that language in a contract. Because I promise you, no other school would have sat there and said, oh, we can wait 10 days and your buyout's this much. No, we'll give them more money. That's stupid. You paid a buyout. It's over. NC State's still licking their wounds. Melly in the chat tells me it was $1 million difference. Okay. You're still licking your wounds. You're still upset about losing Will Wade, even though you called him a snake in the grass. I called Cody Campbell a serpent. I get it, but you're licking your wounds. Let it go. What would you want to do with Will Wade anyway? He is ruining the sport of college basketball with all these amazing commits he's getting. And bringing to campus, by the way. So, since we're on the talk of LSU basketball and Will Wade, let's look at some stuff. Again, like I said earlier, I was going to pull all these up on a graphic and talk about each player to a point. They were waiting, putting a picture out every hour. I couldn't wait that long. Yeah, I think NC State is just whining, to be honest. I don't know how they would have broken rules. And you're not only did you get robbed of money because of what was in the contract and the language in that contract, you're wasting money by paying legal counsel to do this stupidity. It makes no sense. So far today, well, it may be done because they did this one 4 hours ago. 1, 2, 3, 4. You had 4 players come up, and it says signed and arrived. Welcome to the boot. Abdi Bashir Jr. He is a senior guard. It looks like he transferred here from Kansas State. You have Mohamed Diabate, who is a senior forward who transferred here from Kentucky. You have Austin Nunez, who is a redshirt senior. Previous school was University of Texas San Antonio. I'm guessing this is one of the players that did not come from school. Maybe you can tell me if it did or not. And then you have Divine. I'm sorry, I do not want to ruin your last name. Mr. Divine from Michigan State. Will Wade is truly, shout out Nunez. Oh, yeah. Oh, you'll put the hyphenation now, but you wouldn't do it last night for Poche? I see how it is. Look, what can I say about Will Wade that with any kind of education? I'll be honest with you guys. We'll look at basketball this year because it'll be fun. I watched basketball when Michael Jordan played, and Tracy McGrady was one of my favorite players, Vince Carter. So I'm not in the basketball realm. I'll try my best to give it to you guys, but I'm going to focus on football. Will Wade is going to do whatever he needs to do to win, whatever he can do legally. Now, will he push the boundaries on the word legal? Yes. But unlike Texas Tech, it's going to be legal. Period. So that's the spiel on Will Wade. Let's get into what everybody else would love to talk about right now. Jay Johnson, LSU baseball. And since we have last talked, Jay Johnson has added to his stable from the transfer portal. He has added Bino Waters. He has added Jackson Park. Now, he already had Landon Hood, or was it Jackson Park and Landon Hood? Either way, those are the 3 recruits he's got in the transfer portal so far. These are my opinions. If you've not watched the Go Deep Dive show from last night with me and Zach Nunez and David Billiot, again, please go watch it. You won't. I know it says 2 hours long. It won't feel like 2 hours long. It was a fun show. It was great. It made me want to be a better host because, man, last night was fun. And I don't laugh that much when I'm on my show. But, hold on. Zach Nunez, T-Mac, and VC. Oh, man, good times. Putting his elbow in the rim, my guy. That's how old I am. I went and watched Michael Jordan play the New Orleans Hornets when he was with the Washington Wizards. One of my favorite shows we've ever done. That's right. It was a blast last night, guys. I told them last night I need to have David Billiot on here and dive into him I need to have Zach back on, by the way, because we never really got in about Zach. We kind of more got about the Will Wade scenario. And by the way, Zach, this just popped in my head. Piper Hutchinson is irrelevant now, right? Like our state legislature got involved in athletics not because of anybody betting, because you had journalists trying to get records to private citizens, and they basically just went, "Get out, nerds." That's simple. Melly, I think North Carolina State is just trying to stay relevant. Trying is a correct term. Omar Rojas, how you doing, my man? I'm not going to put that on the screen. I apologize. I do not curse, but he says F NC State and F the turd heels. I'm with you on that. Piper has been real quiet lately. It's kind of hard to be loud when the legislature tells you to go outside, nerd. Anyways, back to Jay Johnson and LSU baseball in the portal class. Landon Hood, I've said it last night. I'll say it again. He was, I believe, the freshman pitcher of the year for Gonzaga, one of the top pitching portal prospects for this portal season, I guess you'd call it. Great pickup, great arm, has a lot of ceiling, a lot of room to grow. I'm really excited to see it. In my opinion, regardless of what anyone else says or what you hear from other people, speaking into a microphone, you can read my lips as I say this. Kason Evans is your Friday night guy. Cooper Moore is your Saturday guy. As of now, William Smith's your Sunday guy. But I am leaning more towards solidifying that. I get it. Things can change. I don't see Jay Johnson's not going to come off of Kason Evans on Friday. Why do I feel that way? I'm glad you asked. Jay Johnson repeatedly, every time he gets on a microphone, is asked about Kason Evans. He's one of the biggest competitors he has on the team, and every time he's on the mound, you have a chance to win. And whether or not you like Kason Evans's performance last year or this past season, every game Kason Evans pitched, you had a chance to win. Period. Signed, sealed, delivered. That's it. Listen to Jay Johnson when he tells you the truth. He's going to start Kason Evans on Friday. Like it or love it, I don't care. It's the truth. Cooper Moore was your best pitcher on the staff coming into the year. Well, coming into the beginning of the year until the injury. Unless he has some arm issues in the beginning due to the injury, which I doubt he will. He recently had surgery on it. He's going to be rehabbing. I believe he's throwing already. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but I believe I've heard he is throwing already, not pitching, throwing. And he's in Baton Rouge working on it. I think he's going to be fine coming up for the season. They're going to kind of pamper him throughout the fall to keep him ready. And William Smith, he developed a lot. Some people really get on to William Smith on his ability. I mean, some of the people that are getting on to William Smith right now, due to his lack of development, want him to be the Friday guy at the beginning of the year. So explain to me how that makes sense. So I'm excited about Landon Hood, but at the same time, I'm keeping arm's length right now for my expectations just because I want to see him throw in the fall and kind of get an idea of what kind of pitcher he's going to be here at LSU and what role he's going to fill. Omar, LSU baseball 2025, Georgia 2026, and Omar, who wins? Oh, LSU. And it's not even me being a homer, Omar. It's the pitching. It's Cade Anderson. It's Anthony Ianson. Like that right there, I think, because and you can say, well, the offense. Georgia has a potent offense. I'll give them all the credit in the world. Georgia's a good team. I think Georgia has a great chance of winning this national championship. But look at what Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson are doing to Double-A guys. I mean, they're carving people up and pitching. I mean, that's the one kind of key part of a team that can really dice up a good offense is the pitching. So Miss Becky agrees. 2025 LSU wins. And to me, it's just the pitching. You still have a potent offense. You still have Jared Jones, Monster Milam, who is a postseason hitter. We've all been reminded about all year, even though he hit over 300 this year in double-digit home runs. I'm not going to get back into that. Ethan Fry, and so on and so forth. You had such a potent offense last year, and with the pitching, I think 2025 LSU wins. 2025 LSU or 2023 LSU? That's a question for another day, not today. Next portal choir we're going to get talking about Jackson Park. This is I'm excited about Bino Waters. We're going to get to him in a minute. I'm truly more excited about Jackson Park than I am anybody right now. Why? The dude has special glove skills. And when I listen to the Cobble interview and I hear Jay Johnson talking about Operation Danny Dickinson, when he talks about bringing guys from smaller schools to the SEC and LSU, it gets me excited because he sees something in this kid that is close to Danny Dickinson. Not saying he is Danny Dickinson, but he sees aspects and attributes that gets him excited about that. For him to call it Operation Danny Dickinson, one, I love Danny Dickinson. I wish I wouldn't have gave that jersey away, but congratulations to Chase Ogeron. You know what, Chase? I need to talk to Ed. Anyways, so Jackson, and you look at the highlight tapes, and I talked about this last night, and I should have brought it up today. I still need to send it to Zach. Zach, by the way, go change the TikTok name. I was watching some. If you've watched my show before, if you haven't, I love baseball. I love football. With baseball, though, I love hitting, and I worked as a hitting instructor. I worked as a hitting coach. I believe I have a very strong, adept eye for hitting. And when I look at Jackson Park, I see things in his swing that Jay Johnson is going to fix and mend. Nothing's broken. It's worked out well, but it would not work in the SEC against this type of pitching. What I see in his swing that Jay Johnson can just mend and bend and tweak here and there, the little things can make for big results. For instance, I'm watching a swing. It was a face-on swing, meaning like this view right here, right? He's a right-handed hitter, so he's hitting the ball. You're looking at me that way. You're looking at, they have one of those charts up there. I'm not big on exit velocity, but it is a metric you can use to kind of show things. When I slow a swing down, I see these things on the balls that the hitches are there or the things that need to be mended. He's 98 to 105 on exit velocity. Still great. When he gets everything, his lower and his upper body in sync, 115. Jay Johnson is going to be able to take those problems of not being in sync when his top and bottom half and get him more consistent with that. That's what makes me so excited. You look at a guy like Cade Beloso, Tommy White, Jake Brown, Jared Jones last year, when we saw the conversation between Jared Jones and Jay Johnson behind the turtle, showing like, hey, he was talking about his swing. And to be a mosquito on the stands that day, I would have died to be there just to hear those words. But he knows how to mend those things. Jay Johnson is a baseball coach. He is a hitting coach. He's an offensive guy. He's going to be able to mend those things. And Jackson Park has a ceiling, I think, that's greater than a lot of guys. I'll even dare to say higher than Bino Waters by coming to LSU. Bino Waters is a shortstop. I don't think he plays shortstop at LSU. And we'll get to that reasoning in a minute. Let's get to Bino Waters. Number one transfer portal prospect out of the portal. Bino Waters coming from Notre Dame. Nunez found a good way to distract me because one of the prettiest swings that ever graced NCAA baseball field was Braden Jobert. I don't think he had to fix much with him. The kid would hit some frozen ropes, if you know what I mean. Z-Man, is Jobert still playing? Unfortunately, Randy, I don't think so. Last I heard, he is no longer playing minor league baseball, unfortunately. I saw some recent photos of him playing, but it could have been other stuff. Yeah, it broke my heart too, Zach. It broke my heart too. That kid has such a beautiful swing. I remember sitting in bed, my wife in 2022, freshly married, and she wasn't really a baseball fan. She liked baseball for every reason. Every woman likes baseball, the baseball fans, but she didn't really get into the game. And I remember I could tell you what game it was. They're playing La Tech in Ruston on a cold night. And I don't even think Jobert had a particularly great night that night, but I just saw his swing. It was like the first time it caught my eye. I went, That kid could be special. His swing was just like lefties always have pretty swings. Joe Bears was just gorgeous. All right, let's get to Bino Waters. Bino Waters, number 1 transfer portal prospect, center fielder, coming from Notre Dame. He's going to stay in center field. I'll say that. I think he's going to stay in center field. He has the intangibles that you die to have. He's a big kid. He's tall. He's fast. He hits with power. His swing, watching it myself as well, has some things that need to be mended, which makes me excited about him. But Bino Waters, I think, is closer to, I don't want to say finished product. He's closer to a all-around prospect than, say, for instance, Jackson Park or Parks, whatever his name is. Parky. I'm calling him Parky. Bino Waters is big to get because, one, he's the number 1 transfer portal prospect, which tells me Jay Johnson's getting the assistant he needs in this transfer portal in this time. That makes me happy. Jay Johnson said himself during the Michael Cobble interview that working within this transfer portal was kind of allowing him not to have to mourn the 2026 season yet. He's not mourning, he's fixing. He told us all in his press conference after a game this year. Let me repeat that. I'm sorry. He told us all after a press conference, after a game this year, that this will never happen again. This will be fixed. And he was talking about the offense. And what I like what he's doing is he's not getting to the same trap that Billy Bean got in when he was in Moneyball, Dawson Park. Thank you, Zach. He's not getting into the same trap Billy Bean and the scouts are trying to put him in Moneyball, where he's trying to replace a guy with this and with that and with this and with that. He's going to get dudes who he believes can be productive in the SEC. And that's what makes me excited about Bino Waters. He's a dude. He is a dude. And if you know baseball, you know what I mean when I say he is a dude. He is a guy. That was what makes me excited. Are them hats for sale? If they are, where can I buy one? Yes, they are. So this hat is on, you can go to Jesus One Apparel. If you go back and listen to the commercial break a little earlier in the podcast, Omar, you can use the code WalkItOffTalk. You'll get 20% off. They're at JesusOneApparel.com. So is this hoodie. Go pick one up. You get 20% off your order, and then 15% of your order goes to support the LSU FCA and other ministries around the country. Thank you, Omar, for asking about that. All right. So we broke down the transfer portal prospects. Let's talk about something that we all kind of saw over the last few days. And I'm actually going to bring something up real quick. Just real quick. Where'd it go? Dag nabbit. Here we go. All right. If you watched Go Deep Dive last night, this actually happened while we were live, so we didn't see it. We saw it after. David talked about the smirk that Jay Johnson gave Michael Cobble whenever Cobble talked about Stephen Milam going to the draft. I'm actually going to make this bigger. Hold on real quick. Look at that smirk. Just look at it. Just look at it. Do you think Jay Johnson thinks Stephen Milam's going to the draft? I can't say for sure Stephen Milam is not going to the draft. Look, I'm sure if a team comes out and pays him a lot of money and drafts him high, he's gone. There's certain numbers that you cannot say no to, right? Like I've talked about before with Derek Curiel. And I told Uncle Randy this, and I'll tell the rest of you. If people came to me with the numbers they're going to throw at Derek Curiel to stop doing this and go do something else, I'm gone. But Stephen Milam, he's a character. But Stephen Milam doesn't just do things. And Jay Johnson players don't just do things for lulz. Stephen Milam picking the moment of the show. Now, so take this into consideration. Take this into consideration. Stephen Milam had to basically probably go pull up the show with Michael Cobble, watch it, or scrub to it, find the part where Jay Johnson's making that face, screenshot it, and he had to go through a lot of trouble to change his profile pic. Is he going to do that for lulz? I think not. I am confident to say that Stephen Milam is, let me not make it definite. Stephen Milam is better chance than not going to be your shortstop for the 2027 LSU baseball season. And that makes me excited. That makes me excited. And I'll tell you why it makes me excited. I'll step out on a limb here. I don't think Stephen Milam comes back to campus to play for LSU baseball if he's the only one returning. I'll put it that way. I'll say it again. I don't believe Stephen Milam, Monster Milam, returns to LSU baseball for the 2027 season if he is the only player returning from this current roster. That's all I'm going to say about that. We talked about it a lot last night on the Go Deep Dive show. Go watch it. You'll get a lot more information. I'm excited. I am really, really excited. That's why I think Park possibly maybe shifts to third. Maybe second. I think he may shift to third. Let's get up here real quick. All right. Paulie J, get on the bandwagon come basketball season. We coming. I'm going to get on the bandwagon. I'm just not going to. This is what, and I'll tell you this, Uncle Randy. I think I've said this before. Football season, I'm really, really excited for because, like I've said over and over again, I don't know what happens. I can't tell you the scheme when a guard, in a 3-tech outside of In-N-Out ordering Burger King does on a toss dive. I can't tell you that, but I can be a fan. And I have enough about football in my mind to where I can talk generally, but I'm not going to sit here and give you X's and O's like I do with baseball. Like I'm going to be honest with you, I can't do that. But we're going to have fun doing it because I can be a fan. It's going to be great. Like I get to talk LSU baseball in the fall and be a fan of LSU football in front of all of you. Probably going to have a call-in show, FYI. It's going to be great. So I'm really excited. And the same thing's going to happen with Will Wade in basketball. I'm going to be a fan, and it's going to be fun. Monsters look like he is back, or so we hope. Read the tea leaves. That's all I got to tell you. Bro, was Monster watching us? Did he go and find it and make it his profile pic? I have no proof, but I'm going to stick with that story. 60% of the time, it works every time. It's Peggy. His mom said there's a chance Monster stays. As Paul just said, it depends on where he's drafted, but the new rule should help. Yes. So, and me talking to people around those camps, the 5-for-5 rule is coming to a big effect because it does give them more leverage. So that's true for Miss Peggy. I'm excited. And I'll give credit to Jason Armstrong of Inside LSU Baseball. When I talked to him a few weeks ago, he told me those let's run it back tweets are going to hit like nuclear bombs in June. Well, we're in June, and we may start getting some of those posts here soon. It may have to wait till after the draft. But like I said, go watch Go Deep Dive from last night to get a deeper insight into that matter because we talked about it at great length last night on Go Deep Dive. With all that, I want to say thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope I brought some levity to some things. I had to get stuff about Cody Campbell and Ken Paxton off my chest, though. I'm sorry I've been blanketing the show with that idiocy, but I had to. I had to get it off my chest. If you can, again, please do me a favor. If you haven't already, please just hit the like button for me. Just go hit it. It does nothing to you. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out tremendously. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. And if you can, if you have X, go follow at Walk It Off, at Paul Jarrett 16. There will be links in the description for everything. Same for TikTok and Instagram. Go follow at Walk It Off Talk on both those platforms. And like I do, almost forgot. Like I do all the time before we leave, I'm going to leave y'all with a Bible verse because we're going to put the main thing is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And we're going to read from Proverbs 14:34. Righteousness exalts a nation. I cannot read, guys. I'm stupid. Proverbs 14:34. Righteousness exalts a nation, But sin is a disgrace to any people. And I'm telling you, I do not look these up. That's just on my little widget on my phone. That does not envelop this Brendan Sorsby, Cody Campbell, Kim Paxton scenario in Lubbock, Texas. I don't know what does. So, all right, hold on. Stay right there, buddy. All right, I'll see y'all. Oh, remember, God loves you. All he wants to do is love him back. I love you guys. Have a great night. Go Tigers.